The scheduler, permanent learners. The scheduler is used to distribute existing content to individuals or groups. Scheduled content has a start date and deadline. When you go to the Scheduler tab, you'll notice two cards, namely permanent learners and temporary learners. In this lesson, we'll focus on scheduling for permanent learners, but if you'd like to learn more about scheduling content for temporary learners, watch our instructional video on the Scheduler Temporary Learners. If we head over to the left-hand panel, you'll notice two sections here, namely individual training and group training. Let's dive into individual training first. The scheduling feature for individuals is used to schedule any content for subscription-based learners to be completed on the Lesson Desk individual platform. Here, you'll see content that has been scheduled for individuals, including the content type, title, start date, and deadline. Let's create a new schedule for individuals. Make sure the Permanent Learners tab is selected. Click on the Add button, after which you'll be redirected to a new screen. Here, you have to fill in the start and deadline dates. To do this, click on the Date field and select your required start and deadline dates in the calendar. Note that the scheduled content will not be available before the start date and will expire once it's reached the selected deadline date. Please remember that content cannot be scheduled outside of the lesson or course's published dates. If you'd like to schedule content outside of these dates, you'll receive a message indicating that you're unable to schedule the lesson due to conflicting start and end dates. You can then either change the schedule's deadline or the lesson's expiry date. Next, you can link the relevant learners by clicking on the Add button. You can select one or multiple learners. To select all the learners, click on the topmost square. Let's add all of the learners. You can also use the search feature to look for a specific learner. Simply type the learner name in the search field over here and select the learner. To return to the learner list, all you need to do is clear your search bar. You can filter the learners according to their status by clicking on the filter feature and choosing the Select Status option. Click Apply when you're done. We're not going to use the filter this time. These features come in quite handy if you have multiple lists of names. After you've selected the learners, click Select. We can now link the content. Click the Add button and select the content you'd like to schedule, then click on the Select button to link the content. You can also search for content in the search bar or filter the content according to lessons or courses by clicking on the drop-down over here. To optionally link a Newsflash to go with the content, click on the Add button next to the Newsflash tab. Before you can link a Newsflash, you first need to create it in the library. After you've saved your schedule, you'll see an overview of the scheduled content in the profile, including the scheduled dates, learners, content, Newsflash if selected, and stats of the number of learners linked, the number of learners passed, failed, and learners who have not attempted the schedule. You can also edit the scheduled dates and learners by clicking on the Overflow menu and selecting Edit. Let's look at some useful features next. You can filter scheduled content according to upcoming, in progress, completed, and expired using the drop-down here. Upcoming means any scheduled content that still needs to reach the start date. In progress means that the scheduled content has already reached its start date but has not yet passed the deadline date. Completed means that each person that the specific content has been scheduled to has completed the training. Expired indicates the courses that haven't been done. In other words, when learners have missed the deadline. The search feature allows you to look for a particular schedule. See this download button? It enables you to download your schedules. You can choose to download the data to your computer or send it to your email address, or both of these options. Let's move on to scheduling content for groups of permanent learners. Scheduling content for groups of learners follows a similar pattern to scheduling content for individuals, with slight differences that we'll get into now. Schedules for groups are created to be completed on the Lesson Desk Group Training unit. When you click on the Formal Training button under the Group Training section, you'll see some familiar features on the screen, including the filter, search, and download features. You'll start to see the differences when you add a schedule for group training. Click on the Add button and let's continue. For group training, you need a training location, unlike individual training, where learners can complete the training from anywhere using a web-enabled device. So, click on the Add button to add a training location. Select the branch where the group training will take place by clicking on its corresponding circle. The search feature also applies when you want to look for a specific branch. Remember, group training hardware should be linked to the selected branch for learners to complete group schedules. After you've selected the branch, you can go to the Learners card and click on the Add button. Select the relevant learners, then set the date and time of when the class is scheduled to take place. Lastly, click on the Content Card's Add button. Link the scheduled content by selecting the relevant course you'd like to add and click Select. Only lessons that have been set to be supported by the group platform will be visible here. You can also link a Newsflash just like with individual schedules. Once you've completed and saved the info, you'll have access to the same overview as for individuals, including the branch, learners, class date and time, the content linked, and the results.